Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video, and welcome to day 21 of our F125 Hotlap and Setup series. Today we return here to the Autódromo José Carlos Pache, or otherwise known as Interlagos, for the Brazilian Grand Prix. One of the shortest circuits on the F1 venue. This place has so much history inside Formula 1. It's great fun, it's high commitment, it's high speed, of course, in Sector 1 and Sector 3, but the middle of the circuit very, very slow, a lot of switchback corners, which makes for an interesting balance when it comes to setting up a car inside F125. Of course, for those of you that don't know what this series is all about, we basically go through, I explain to you guys kind of what you want to be looking for, your braking references, things like that, and your race strategies here inside F125. I provide you with a race-ready setup to go inside the game, and then last but not least, I leave you with a hot lap. As always, timestamps will be linked down in the description below if you just want to head to a certain point in this video as well. Make sure you get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 15,000 subs on the channel. A massive thank you to everybody for their continued support so far on this series. But yeah, without further ado then, let's head down to the track, and I'll talk you guys what you want to be looking for here at Interlagos. Well, making our way then out of the final corner then, a long run back towards the start-finish line here, but it's certainly not a straight as we make our way through the final corner. Make sure you try and keep the car over to the right-hand side as we make our way up in towards turn 1. Of course, a very rare uphill climb in towards that first corner, but you want to be looking just between the 100 and the 50 meter board. In qualifying trim, you can brake pretty much at the 50, but in race trim, I would be aiming to brake it just at that lamppost as you make your way in. All the way down from 8th gear, avoid getting the car on the grass on the outside. You want to bring the car all the way down to 3rd. Try to go for quite an early apex. It's very bumpy, and it just carries the car through the camber. Completely pinned through turn 2, get up into 4th gear on the exit as you put your power down through the remainder of the CNRS. Hug the apex quite nicely on the exit of the corner, and then allow the car to drift out wide to the right-hand side once more again as we make our way down the Esquido de Largo. Down in towards turn 4, you got a lot of these Tag Heuer signs on the way in, but you want to be looking for the one just after this little kind of asphalt strip on the outside there. Braking just as you get towards that penultimate barrier board. You have got the 100 meter on the inside. 3rd gear on the apex. Don't attack the curbing too much through here, but allow the car again to drift nicely wide on the exit to maximise the circuit width. You have to be very careful though. That corner exit on F125, the track limits are really strict. Even if you just get the inside wheel on that white line, it will absolutely punish you. Turn 4, a complete nothing corner in the world of Formula 1, but you are now into the kind of bowl, if you will, of this circuit as we make our way up into Ferradura. Get the car back over to the left-hand side. You want to be looking at the 50 meter board. Down 1 gear on the way in. Avoid the curb on the inside line. In qualifying trim, this corner is completely flat out. In race trim, you probably just want to blend the throttle, but allow the car to run nicely wide on the exit. As soon as you get it straightened up, though, cycle all the way down into 2nd gear. Really try to get the car over the inside curbing through this first part, and then we head down the hill. Very off camber through this next hairpin. Short shift up to 3rd gear, and then just as you kind of get through the middle of the corner, pretty much I like to use kind of this darker marking on the inside curb. That is when you want to try and get on the throttle completely. Allow the car to run wide on the exit for this short blast up the hill. Braking just as we get to the entrance of that curbing there from 4th gear all the way back down to 2nd. Try to get a really nice late apex through this corner as well, and you've got to be very careful. Don't go full throttle until you get over the bump right at the end of the curbing. This then final corner of Sector 2 completely flat out once more, but you've got to be very careful on the exit. You don't get grass on your tyres. Get the car over back on the right-hand side. Again, it's really difficult to kind of spot your braking point down in towards this final proper corner of the lap. You kind of obviously want to look past that curbing, past obviously kind of all this weird little astroturf as well on the outside. I like to use the banner boards on the outside as a bit of a reference. As soon as you go past the N on the Louis Vuitton, that's when you want to be getting on the anchors once again. It's not a perfect reference, but it's just what I'm using inside F125. Avoid the curbing on the inside, use all of the exit curb though, and then the long run back towards the start-finish line there. Again, be very, very careful. You want to make sure in races that you're inside the DRS range of the car in front nice and early, so you can carry that speed right the way back up to the start-finish line. And there we go. That is a lap of Interlagos. It is really one of those circuits that is easy to learn, difficult to master. I think that's what makes this place so fun. I think it's why so many drivers really do love this circuit as well. It's a fantastic venue. You know, it always deserves to stay on the F1 calendar as well. It combines high and low speed, cambered corners, you know, adverse camber corners as well. It is a brilliant, brilliant fun. And like I said in the intro, a lot of history as well. Let's head, though, back to the pit lane, and I'll talk you guys through the setup. Well, taking a look then at our top leaderboard times, as you can see, about 1.3 seconds away from your really, really quick people there. You see 3 drivers now dipping into the 106s. Is an insanely good lap time around this venue. But of course, yeah, around here, it's quite high downforce. The AI are really, really quick, though, on the straights. They seem to have been tweaked slightly for F1 25, so they're a bit slower in a straight line, a little bit quicker through the middle sector, but they are still really, really strong around this venue. I'm running 38-34 wing angle, but I would honestly say if you're going up against the AI, bring it down to like 30-33. You will be a bit slower through the middle sector. Ferradura won't be as easy, but you'll probably just have a bit of a better chance of getting past them in a straight line. AC25 for the on and off throttle diff settings around here. Again, fairly standard for what we've seen inside F1 25, but especially through the middle sector. Obviously, you've got quite a few corners where the back end's really squatting as you try and get the power down, so you've just got to be really, really careful there. Minus 3.4, minus 1.9, 0.02, 0.13 for the camber and toe angles. Again, that's basically just my normal inside this game now. 38.4 for your front and rear suspension, but again, the anti-roll bar is actually quite firm. 11.18 around this circuit, with a 22.50 ride height. If you find the car struggling over the curbs, I would up this to like 24.51, but I really wouldn't want to try and go much higher on the rear ride height. Again, it just allows the car to kind of squat on the exits of the corner, gives it a little bit more wiggle room, so hopefully traction is going to be nice and easy. 54.98 on the brake bars and pressures, again, completely standard for what I run inside this game. And then last but not least, maxed out front pressures, quite high rear pressures as well here. It's quite a temperature limited circuit, especially on the rear end. You've got to be super careful, of course, as you get a lot of wheel spin quite inherently because of kind of all the short, you know, traction zones before you're back on the brakes, so you're always trying to carry speed off of the corners. So this will hopefully allow you to manage the rear pressures a little bit more. Again, if you're finding the car to be a bit too wheel spinny, perhaps drop those rear pressures to about 23, but just be aware it will make time management a little bit more tricky. It is a one-stop around here, about 16 laps on the mediums, 20 laps on the hards in a 50% league race. But yeah, hopefully this setup helps you out as always. If it does, please do make sure you drop a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel, and we'll be back tomorrow ready in Las Vegas.